Welcome to Double Cousins Unplugged, Episode 8. Real talk, real family, real fun. In this episode of Double Cousins Unplugged, we will discuss a topic that has generated strong feelings and conversation within the Paducah community following this year's 8th of August celebration. The level of police presence concerning surrounding the use of force during the festivities. The 8th of August is more than another event on the calendar. It's a long-standing celebration of freedom, heritage, family, and community in Paducah. That's why these questions about what happened during this year's celebration deserve thoughtful and respectful conversation. We understand that law enforcement has the responsibility to maintain public safety, especially when large crowds gather. At the same time, members of the community have every right to ask questions, have every right to ask questions whether the situation could be handled differently or whether a level of force reported use was necessary. Our conversation isn't about being anti police, it's about accountability, proportionality, communication, community, trust. We'll discuss the concerns being raised, examine different perspectives, including the challenges officers face when managing large public events, and ask an important question. How do we keep people safe without making the very community being protected feel unnecessarily policed? We've assembled a diverse panel representing city leadership, law enforcement, community leadership, and state government experience for an open, respectful, and meaningful conversation. Here today, we have, all right, we have Renato Henderson, Paducah City Commissioner. We have Dewan Thomas, Paducah City Commissioner. From a law, we have former state representative Jeff Taylor. We have Mr. Jewel Sains. We have Shavi Kareem Abdul Shabazz, aka I know him as my friend Spanky. Okay. Did everybody hear me okay? Let me turn y'all mics on just 1 second.
Okay, can you hear me, Tia?
When you mute my mic, it mutes you as well.
Hello?
Yeah, to the host, your mic.
Hey, bro.
Who's all mics? Everybody's mic is working.
My test worked great.
Test.
Mic test.
Test.
There's an
Um,
echo.
um, okay, I can hear myself.
All right, we're gonna do some editing, so don't worry about all that's going on right now. Let me start by saying I'm in a hotel, so it won't be me get what's the name. Dewan, I think you're muted.
Yeah, I'm still muted.
Mic off.
All right, I'm back. Sorry about the technical difficulties. Can you guys hear me now?
Much better.
Outstanding. Sorry about that, guys. We got so many people online. So let's jump back into this. As we stated before, we have our community leadership here, local law enforcement perspective, former state representative Jeff Taylor, community leaders. All right. Before we jump into the serious part of tonight's conversation, I want everybody to relax a bit. We have elected officials, law enforcement officers, community leaders, and former state representatives all at the table tonight. But before we get into our next question, those titles does not matter. So let's start with something simple. For this question's for everybody. What is one
Hey,
thing you
Tion.
love about Paducah? We'll start with you, Mr. Bray. Mayor Bray.
Um, is there an echo when I? Yeah, there's a really bad echo. I don't know how to get it out.
Andiamo, it's your feedback doing the echo.
Maybe if we muted when we weren't talking, that might help. That I
You got to
love
make sure
about
yourself is
Paducah.
unmuted. Go ahead, Mr. Bray. Mayor Bray.
Yeah, one thing that I love about Paducah um, is there's so many things I like about it, but I love I love the feeling of being home. I love the hospitality of the community that goes along with our diversity, and it's something that Paducah is really known for.
Thank you. Thank you. Juan?
Yeah, appreciate the question. Being born and raised here, I've always loved my community. Even when I moved away to Louisville to go to college, I knew I wanted to come right back home. And then COVID's what shut down the world. I ran for mayor, yada yada yada, and just love serving people here because we have such a diverse community, all walks of life, and we're such a progressing city as well. Like from when I was a kid, there's so much more now today than there was many years ago, and we're just continuing to grow, but it still has that hometown feel. Like I always call it a big little city because, we got the malls, we got the Walmarts, we got the restaurants, we got a little bit of everything, but it doesn't take 30 minutes to get from my house to Walmart like it would in Louisville. So I just love the hometown feel, but also having access to a lot of different things here.
So true. So true. Go ahead, Mr. Henderson. Can you unmute your mic? We'll come back to you. Come back to you, Mr. Henderson. You're muted. Jewel, can you go ahead? Here you go. Now
What
go ahead.
my
Talk now.
actual
Jewel.
race was? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you now.
Okay, whenever I grew up as a kid inside of Paducah, like it was the togetherness. Like it didn't matter what your race was and none of that. Like everybody was just here. When you leave Paducah, I met it, and I tell people, I said inside of Paducah, Kentucky, like I can go to my neighbor and ask for sugar growing up. Like it wasn't a problem. Like so when I see people now, like it's still like people speak the hospitality here is excellent. When you can leave and go to a couple of counties over, they don't have that. But when you hear, man, this is just home to me. Everything about Paducah is home.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Jeff, you go ahead. Your mic. Can you unmute your mic, Jeff? Jeff, it was working fine, but not sure what's going on. Can you hold that? Hold your thought, Jeff. We'll come back to you. Uh, Shavaz, can you go ahead? Can you go ahead? I don't know. I can't hear you either. Don't not sure what's going on with you guys. But Mike, we did mic checks and everything. Everybody sounded good, but now we having problems all of a sudden. All right, we'll try Mr. Henderson again. Mr. Henderson. All right. I tell you what, we'll go ahead and work with what we have for right now and jump right into questions and stuff. Sorry about the technical difficulties, guys. This is you know how the internet works. It has its issues and stuff, but we'll work through that. I just appreciate you guys coming on and talking to us and stuff. Uh, as I always say, a little bit about me. I forgot to introduce myself. I'm Tiant. I am also from Paducah. And what I love about Paducah is, like everyone has said, diverse community, good family, good times, uh, an opportunity where you can come back and have a lot of good food, you know, a lot of good restaurants there in Paducah, I must say. So we definitely gonna get good eating when we come home. But the most important part about it is family. Family is what I love to come back to and celebrate and enjoy a good time with. Okay, we're gonna try Jeff one more time. Jeff, you go ahead now. Yeah, for some reason it's not picking you up. Mr. Henderson, can you try one more time?
Can you hear me? I think I'm unmuted.
I hear you now.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So what question do you want me to ask? What do I love about Paducah or what?
Yes, sir. What do you love about Paducah?
Well, obviously, I should say obviously, was not born and raised in Paducah. I've been here now for 34 years. So in that time, it has become home. And I always like to say that Paducah is a small town, having come from Chicago, but it does have a big town feel. And it has certainly been the best place that my wife and I could have been to raise our three children. That was a question when we had our first child, where would we go to raise our children? And just by God's divine grace, we ended up in Paducah, and we couldn't have been in a better place. So this has been home. I've lived here longer than I've lived anywhere. So this is the place.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, Jeff, we're gonna try you one last time. You can try now. Yeah, your mic is not going. Okay, I'm gonna come back to you. Stuff. Spanky, can you try one more time? All right. We're gonna jump right into questions and stuff. And I stated before, everyone, you know, just please be respectful with your answers and mindful of others. Okay. This first question is for our commissioners and our mayor. Okay. Many residents have expressed concerns that the police presence during this year's 8th of August celebration felt excessive, intimidating. What have you heard from the community, and what do you believe those concerns deserve formal response from city leadership? Mr. Mayor?
Well, I've heard a lot. We had a large crowd at our commission meeting last night. Six people stood up and talked, and I know that there was a lot of angst, and people were upset about this past weekend. There's also was a lot of misinformation, which is kind of to be expected. People got to talking about, the things that happened, and so there was a lot of things that were said that weren't 100% accurate, but that's kind of to be expected. I think when people start talking, um, from my perspective, the community, we focused, the police force focused on safety this past weekend. We definitely reacted to the deaths of 20, that occurred in 2025, and and the injuries and deaths that shootings that happened previous to that, 2024. So we were very focused on that, and we were also very focused around the area around, in particular, around the brick house, because that's where the violence had taken place last year. So from the standpoint, the community, we did keep the community safe over the weekend, but I would say that from what I've heard, and we're still investigating and researching, but there's plenty of opportunity for improvement, improved communication before next year's August 8th.
Thank you. Commissioner Thomas, could you?
Yeah, and just to follow up what the mayor said, I received phone calls. Of course, I seen posts on Facebook, and I was actually out there on Friday night alongside our officers. I was dropping off food at my grandmother because I was born and raised and lived right across from the brick house, well, two doors down. So I've witnessed firsthand what it's been like at the brick house, especially when there's been senseless deaths throughout the years. Um, but in saying that, I was out there alongside officers, and from my experience just then, I knew that they had several patrol cars posted up on that road. And in my mind, I thought that this was the main hub that we were patrolling. And then following that, it was probably Saturday evening when I finally started getting messages in regards to people feeling like they were harassed or pulled over for this and things like that. And even one individual that was arrested, and I was on the phone with her for nearly an hour, felt like an hour, 30 minutes to an hour, just trying to help guide her through the process of how to formally file a complaint and what steps she needs to do to ensure that we can investigate this the proper way. So yeah, just so much feedback, and again, to piggyback off the mayor, there was also a lot of secondhand information that people were spreading. So people, it's kind of funny with Facebook. Some people were even calling out folks for saying you weren't even out there, but you're sharing saying X, Y, and Z. I mean, you were at home the whole weekend. So, but that's to be expected sometimes, and but it doesn't diminish the fact of those that did experience what they felt was harassment or over policing. So, like we shared last night, we're taking those concerns seriously, and I just appreciate all the community members that came out and shared their experiences and that have reached out because that allows us to do our job and investigate those. And, we support our officers, but we can also hold them accountable as well.
Thank you. Mr. Henderson?
Well, beginning Friday morning at the 8th of August breakfast at my church, I was invited to sit down with a group of people who began to share with me all that they had seen and or experienced. So as a result of that, I ended up calling the chief of police and just shared with him some of what I had heard. And we talked about that, and we agreed that after the 8th of August, we would get an opportunity to just sit down and just talk about a few things. At that time, of course, we had no way of knowing that things would escalate to where it is now. So and in that, of course, as is expected, a lot of misinformation was given. A lot of people began to say things that they themselves did not experience. And so it's been difficult to try to decipher through all of what I've heard, all of what we have heard through text and personal conversations. Didn't see any of it firsthand. But I still believe that because citizens brought it forward, that we have a responsibility as a commission to listen, as we did on Tuesday night. And we have a responsibility also to enter into more conversations with particularly those citizens who came forward on Tuesday night. Uh, One of the things that I think is important is that we do, I think Commissioner Thomas has said, we do certainly support our police, support the work that they do, not just this weekend, but we support the work that they do all the time. So we want certainly to help police understand that we support them, but there's always room for improvement. Obviously, some things happened that perhaps our police did not realize were intimidating. Some things did happen that perhaps our police just didn't understand the kind of impact that they would have or their presence would have on people. So that gives us an opportunity to talk some more, to work some more, and to grow some more. So we're not trying to diminish any concerns, and we're not trying to prejudge our police either. We are still in that process of trying to understand everything that did happen on these few days, and we want the opportunity to try to correct it. But also at the same time, I feel pretty good in the fact that citizens felt comfortable enough to come to the city commission meeting rather, and talk to us about their concerns, because somewhere in that they felt like somebody or several somebodies would hear and move forward with trying to bring forth solutions.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. My next question is going to be for our community leaders, Joel and Shabbat. You've heard many of the concerns expressed since the 8th of August celebration from conversations you've had from people in the community telling you about how they telling about how they felt. From your perspective, could you please enlighten us? Joel?
Well, for me, my first encounter is when I came out Friday night. I went up to school plate. It wasn't no crowd in there yet. They haven't even got the party started yet. First thing I see coming out is a fire marshal because of the inspection, which I used to be there. I sold food to people, elected officials, school officials. I'm the hibachi. I used to do all of that stuff in there. So when I see it, I seen when they tried to shut us down during 2020. So I've been there firsthand of how they come and deal with it. So when I'm seeing it, I'm like, okay, we wait until the 8th of August. We say crowd control. They come out talking about, well, y'all can't even have nobody out here right now. You got to leave. I'm looking, I'm like, no, you don't. This is private property. Y'all own this building. How you gonna tell me on my property I gotta go? Or you gotta go inside? Like, okay, I understand what y'all trying to do, but y'all got armed force. Y'all got y'all own people here. Y'all paid for this. I'm like, okay, I haven't heard nothing. All right. I'm like, dang, Brickhouse ain't got nobody over here. This is strange. I ain't seen this. Normally he get an old crowd. Then I start getting calls because that's what they do to me here. Man, I don't want to come out. I'm scared to come out. I got pulled over. So I was like, I stood there a little longer. Police officer started shouting at my car. I tell them I'm a designated driver tonight. I just wanted to see what they was doing. So when they come through, I got 6 officers then in droves they are coming. I'm like, hold on. So I go talk to LG. I'm gonna go back the day before. He said, man, look, they told me it was my fault that girl got murdered. That's why I spoke up last year. It was me. I said, we have to call the police because they're gonna harass us. They're gonna do too much and turn everybody into criminals. We shouldn't get police during that time being for the purpose of just saying we are criminals. I've been on the other side of the tracks. I'm not no more. So when I deal with it, I'm like, okay, I understand when I was wrong, but when I'm right, why am I wrong? How am I doing wrong and breaking laws when I'm right? But what's the Constitution for me? Who's going to protect me when somebody won't protect the police? The police, we want them there, but we don't want to be to the point of where we feel like we are threatened by your business now, because you are going to hunt for a reason to say this is why we doing it, and we didn't find no guns. That should have said at the end of the day, your presence was enough. Because I know as a daddy, when I'm in a room with my kids, they're not going to act a certain way until I leave. But when my presence there, they're going to respect me. So as a community now, I'm hearing people that they don't want to come back. I'm like, man, we got to come back. I want to work with y'all. Like, I don't come at y'all. I tag everybody in. Not because if I want to dog anybody, but at the end of the day, I want some understanding of who's going to protect us when the people that's supposed to protect us ain't protecting us no more. They looking to turn us into criminals. To say that we're criminals and this is why we treat y'all that way.
Right. Thank you, Jewel. Uh, Judy, thank you for joining us.
Yes, it's all good to be here. Sorry,
Sure, appreciate it. This
I had
question is
something
meant
coming
for.
up to come up unexpectedly. I am. What's the question?
I'm gonna repeat the question. So for you and Spanky, you've heard many of the concerns expressed since the 8th of August celebration. From a conversation you've had, what are people in the community telling you about how they felt about the event?
Well, there have been an overwhelming number of people that have expressed their disappointment. They felt unsafe. They felt bullied. They felt the aggressiveness of the police. And the biggest disappointment was people thinking that this was a trade off, that they felt like they were targeted, but it wasn't for the intent of for safekeeping, for people to feel like they were safe in a community from people that have committed atrocities. No one wanted any shootings, never wanted any shootings. And here's one thing I wanted to say specifically about that whole event. I was not there last year. Um, I saw video. I actually saw video of a young person with something white on shooting over into the crowd. There was a video. I'm not sure if it's still out there, but my problem was what occurred prior to the person shooting. There was a melee of students, kids, young people fighting like crazy. I mean, clothes ripped off, hair pieces, fighting different people. And had the police been right there on point, on site, there was no way I believe that young man would have felt bold enough to stand there and pull out the gun and start shooting. If the police were within like 4 or 5 minutes, right there, but they weren't. They used the drones. I understand that was a beneficial thing for them to be able to utilize to help capture some of the suspects. But my thing is, I've been there. I've been around the brick house when we were out there and there was music and food and everything after hours. And the police mingled along with us. We had Chief Berry. That was an amazing situation when we had him. And he made the officers feel like this is where we need to be. And they were there. And our people are saying, I should not feel unsafe in my own home where I pay taxes and I own. Even if they're renting, they should not be accosted by policemen driving by saying, why are you on the sidewalks? You need to be behind the gate of your home. We have witnessed for 30 plus years, just as the young lady that's a member of the White's family. I personally drove down in front of the White House close to around a little before 11. I witnessed four cars pulled over by the police on the left side of the street, directly across from the front door of the White House. And then into the next block, there were 3 cars pulled over by police. Each one was surrounded by multiple officers. There were dogs. There were glimpses of the conversation. People asking, why are you pulling me over? What's going on? The odds of 4, 5, 6, 7 cars suspected of DUIs right there lined up together. I was like, what is going on? You drive a little further, make a turn, go toward downtown, not one officer anywhere. And I don't know about anyone else, but I know I personally seen a lot of ruckus to occur in various parts of the city. We don't want you to not police our community. We want you to be consistent in what you do. Don't give me all of this energy during the 8th of August and Emancipation time. And then when it's time for the Quilt Festival, the Lower Town Arts Festival, Barbecue on the River, and countless other festivals, We don't see that activity. We don't want anyone to be harassed. We don't want to trade off with the non-African American community and trade it off and do the same thing to the white community. Treat everyone fairly. Treat everything as an individual situation. And I'm not sure what instructions were given and by whom for this to be the action that the police department decided to take. But I was a personal witness and I was so disappointed because if this is what they feel will be the catalyst to keeping us safe and people from being fatally hurt, that's not the best plan.
Judy,
You need to go back to the drawing board, in my opinion, and find something different to do because
Judy,
that is not the best situation. They were upset,
Judy,
hurt,
Judy, I don't mean to cut
yeah.
you off. I don't mean to cut you off,
Mhm.
Judy, but we try to limit our questions to 2 to 3 minutes and stuff to give everybody the
Okay, go ahead.
opportunity to speak. To speak.
Sure, absolutely. Go ahead.
And we'll definitely come back. And we'll come back to you.
Okay.
She didn't read the email, Ken.
Thank you. I'm sorry.
She didn't read the email.
No, that's okay. All right. So we're gonna keep this going. Jeff, let me see if you can hear me, Jeff.
Hello. Yes, I
Outstanding.
can.
I have a question for you. Outstanding. Okay. So, Mr. Taylor, from your experience in state government, when a significant portion of community believes government authority has been exercised unfairly, what responsibility do elected officials, even if they personally disagree with those concerns, have?
First off, thank our host and our elected officials for being here. And the other participants. From a national perspective, African American culture suffered. We lost DEI, cultural educational training, critical race theory. Over 300,000 Black women have lost their jobs. Their unemployment rate went from 5.4% to 7%. Promotions of Black and females in the military have been stripped or blocked. And then this happens in Paducah. It's the compilation of things. There's that old adage that ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. I was in Paducah last year and this year, and we experienced a pound of cure. I was very disappointed. I went to the brick house both nights. I spoke with the officers. I talked with the officers. They were very nice. But the presence was very intimidating. It kept people from coming out. I heard well-dressed ladies on the sidewalk say, "We're going home. We're not putting up with this." The fire marshal or the ABC, 2 officers actually came in the brick house. That just destroys your whole mood. That's just it. Friday night, we went downtown to the Gorilla Bar. It was packed. People on the sidewalk, Silent Brigade packed. People on the sidewalk, Silver Bullet packed. People on the sidewalk. We got our burgers, went to our whole hotel room. Saturday night, I brought my kids. You want to go? They said, "No, we're not going anywhere. This is too many police. We're going back to the room." The point I'm trying to make here is sometimes you can obtain an objective, but it's not a win. The objective was attained. The objective of no shootings was attained. But at this loss, the loss of income for vendors, for establishments, what I lost was seeing friends. I go in the brick house to hug people, tell them I miss them, tell them I love them. Both nights I may have seen 2 people that I knew versus me actually seeing hundreds. That right to celebrate was lost. And most importantly, what was lost? Trust. Trust was damaged between law enforcement and the community. Trust is going to take some work to get back. So again, the objective was met, but this was certainly not a win. There's a lot of room for improvement. The brick house has this stigma with it, but I'm going to defend them a little bit. And here's why. I've been going in there for 46 years. It's been a sanctuary. We go in there when good things happen. I had my bachelor party in there. When kids are born, we go to celebrate in there. When ball games are won, we go to celebrate in there. Weddings, anniversaries. When things happen, a Trayvon Martin shot or George Floyd is choked, we go in there to have a drink and to vent. Now, is everything in there perfect? Not necessarily. Another thing, that is a black owned business with generational wealth. We don't have a country club, but I've been in there and witnessed three generations. A lot of black people do not have generational wealth. So, regardless what you think of it, there have been three generations at any given time in there. So, we have to give them some credit for their history. They are part of black history. The whites have adopted me as a family, and it's somebody owes that family an apology. There's not any more of an upstanding black family in the entire community. They'll feed anybody. I've been in that yard with 200 or 300 people. There's never been an issue. What was done there is just, it's really just a shame. And I don't know how we got to this point, but I know that in the future that we can get with community leaders and say, hey, here's our plan. What do you think? Let black community leaders.
Like we lost Jeff. Okay, we're gonna move on till he comes back. I have a general question for you, for mayor and the community leaders. Um, so why was the focus on the brick house and the other club and not the surrounding areas, the streets and stuff? Why are we focusing on a private club that basically has nothing to do with what's going on versus what's in the streets in the community?
Well,
Mayor?
yeah, I would just say that I believe that's a little bit of a, with all due respect, a misconception, and here's why. Because first of all, we had more than one meeting with LG, the owner of the brick house, and we explained to him several months before August 8th that um, that the issue in last year had been in the street outside of his business, and he made it very clear to us that he didn't want any part of that outside of his business, that he wanted to focus on his club. He was going to close on time, and that he was going to make sure that everybody was of age, and so he was focused on that. Um, and I think last night at our commission meeting, the chief actually um, complimented both uh, both the brick house and the other bar in the area, which actually had armed security guards. So they were very focused on protecting their business. The issue really became, and in addition to the brick house, we were focused on the general area, and I think that's where some of our issues came, because there were family parties, within a block, a surrounding block of the brick house, that where family members felt intimidated. Um, so we did not focus on the brick house per se. Um, we focused on the area. Now, uh, our to Jeff's point, the ABC officer was in town, a state ABC officer. He lives down in West Kentucky, so he was checking people. Also, our fire marshal was around, just making sure that there was uh, that people didn't have too many people in places. So yes, we did focus on those things, again, all in the interest of safety, but yet, I fully recognize that it came across as intimidation, and cutting through people's time. And so, I mean, this has been a recurring theme, but I would just tell you, we can solve these things with more communication. And I know myself and my commissioners are absolutely committed to more communication before next year's events. I hope that answered your question.
Outstanding. Anybody want to piggyback off of that and respond?
My only problem is I was at the meeting last night. Man said that they targeted the brick house in home plate. He specifically said target. We was focused on that. That's a target. And when they focused on that, in there exactly at them young man's club and my family stuff, because I used to be in there with that, I done seen how they treat us. The problem is when history starts off, because we're in 2026, like history is history. So we are looking at exactly what's happening. I go downtown, like I said, I did too. That's what we do. We go down there just to see. And when I went down there, he didn't go check them, and it was packed. They didn't check them, they checked stuff. I said last year, my thing was I spoke. My kids there, my thing was I believe in humanity. I don't see nothing else. But when we are mistreated, I can't go under. It's harassment. Like they was too aggressive. And everybody was criminalized. Like people that didn't even drink. You look in PER, as textbook. People was having pretextual stops. That's what was happening. It wasn't something to justify because of a shooting last year. Because the same fights and stabbings happened downtown. Didn't nobody go down there to make sure their crowds was right in numbers? Why did they go to the black establishments, but they didn't go downtown and do the same thing? See, we wouldn't have a problem if the same treatment was in two places. Only thing we got to go off is what we see. We appreciate police presence. I said we want them to come, but people are nervous about communicating with them when you become a criminal from conversation. Quit committing crimes. I ain't committed one, but if you hunt hard enough, all of us, it's too many laws. You're gonna find something to get us for. They lock people up for talking about hitchhiking to a car because they aggressively tell them, go. Y'all gotta go. You need to go. You need to leave. Get in your car. Go. Leave now. I'm like, people just leaving out trying to say, hey, I love you, good to see you. I ain't seen you in a long time. Like, this is family reunion for us. Friendships is families to us. Our communities is family here in Paducah. So when you come and see in your community of all groups, all nationality, the thing is when we come together and we get treated like that, we got one way to feel. Because if it's justified off of Jamila's name, and we don't even speak her name, we just say shootings. That lady lost her life in a baby. We never mentioned her one time. We keep talking about using justification to say reasoning. As long as at the end of the day, a lot of black business was hurt, our community was broken there because of that. We are trying to heal our community at the same time trying to heal. Where can we start at when we keep hearing that it was basically justified? I still haven't heard nobody yet say that was too much and we gonna get to the bottom of that so that we can fix them problems. We don't want no shootings. We want to enjoy ourselves like everybody else. We don't want to be treated differently because we don't look like everybody else. The 8th of August is our 4th of July, and we just want to celebrate it peacefully. Now, how can we get there if the NAACP saying that it's broken? That is right. It's okay like that. No, it's not. We in 2026 and it should happen.
Appreciate your comment, Jeff. We're going as a reminder, everyone, let's keep our responses at a minimum so everybody has an opportunity to speak. Everything is important, and we'll give everybody opportunities to talk.
Tia,
Go ahead,
can you hear me?
Andiamo. Go ahead.
Hey, first off, I want to tell you, I'm sorry. My internet's bad, and I always joke about everybody else's internet being bad. So I guess they probably would kick me out of the hotel. That's probably what the issue is. But I want to show, as Jewel was talking about, I want to show a video that was sent to me of some of the police officers that had arrested some Paducah citizens. So please excuse the cussing going on, but it was reasonable why they were cussing after you see some of this.
You just opened her door! Y'all just opened her door! Nah, y'all just opened her door! bullshit. Move.
One warning. Back up. You're
going to jail. Back up. Going to jail. Excuse me. Excuse me.
Still in the public place. One more time. Don't hit me with this door.
No.
Back up. Back up. Back up. I already told you. Back up.
I'm trying to get in the car. You just told me to drive. You just told me to drive. I just said yes. And I was trying to get in the car.
Back up.
Now, what I want to say about that right there is two things. That young lady was hit with 2 directives within a 2-second span. So there's a bad situation right there. One tells her to get in the car and leave, then one tells her to back up. The young man that was in the car, he was in the car. I don't know what happened with, I guess he was yelling. Somebody was trying to push the door to shut it or whatever. And then they aggressively, just because he was saying something, they aggressively dragged him out of that car. Where was the de-escalation going on in that? Either the mayor or the commissioners. Can y'all speak on that? Your thoughts on it? I know y'all got some reviewing coming up, but we're giving you a video to review right now to us.
Well, I think obviously what we just saw, of course, without context, but what we saw certainly seems to be excessive, and I feel the need. If I cannot apologize for the entire commission, but I can apologize for myself to see that this young lady, this young man were just seemingly they were harassed, and I apologize for that. And it is very, very evident that in our quest to try to keep people safe and to try to keep order, that there were some people who were not safe, and there was some disorder. And so I think that it is incumbent upon us as a commission to try to figure out how we correct this. Even if this was the only incident, it was still too much, and we need to try to figure that out. Did you hear that, or did we go out, or what?
Appreciate it, Mr. Henderson. Mr. Thomas, Mr. Thomas, you have any response?
I mean, just kind of piggybacking on Mr. Henderson. I'm hearing feedback. I keep hearing feedback. Okay, there we go. But just to piggyback off of him too, context is important, and just from seeing that part of the video, yes, it did look like it was very aggressive in nature. But I'm the type of person that I like to have all the facts before coming to a final judgment in all situations. So that's pretty much all I can say on it at this time. But that's kind of, I guess, the legal mindedness in me. But I just like to stick to all the facts and not react off of a clip that shows the results. But still, at the end of the day, everything will be taken seriously and investigated. So I would just anticipate those results of that investigation.
Thank you.
And I'll jump in
And
here
if I might say, in all due respect to, go ahead, Mayor.
Go ahead, finish up, Ray.
No, I was just going to say, in all due respect to Commissioner Thomas, that we definitely need context. We need the facts. But in reality, whatever the context and whatever the facts, the kind of treatment does seem to be excessive, regardless of what the facts might be. There is a way, I think, our police officers are trained in de-escalating situations, and it does not look like in this situation that it was being de-escalated. It looks like it was escalating to something that could have ended up in what we were trying to prevent this weekend.
Go ahead, Mayor.
And Andiamo, that's the first time I've seen that video. And again, going back to context, I think context it's always important. I don't know what led up to this, I don't know how it all started, but definitely there needs to be some investigation of that, an understanding of what happened, and it clearly appears to me that we have an opportunity for improvement with training and the way our officers react to situations. Um, clearly they were on very high alert the entire weekend. That's very clear to all of us, um, and so I think again we're going to work uh, toward next year. We're going to open up the lines of communication open between the police and the community, and we're going to work to make sure that we not only have a safe weekend, but we also have, certainly a better approach by our police force.
Okay. Judy, you have a question or response?
You say me?
Judy.
Oh, Judy.
Okay, I was trying to unmute myself. Regardless of what occurred prior to, it's just like I felt like I had been transported to here where I am in the DC area, that I was in Chicago, that I was in LA, that I was in Atlanta. I used to have such pride when I would speak of Paducah and the relations that we had of race, but I think I was disillusioned. I truly believe you can say this is what we're doing and this is what we're working on, but our actions will tell us everything. When there's a situation and there are like 12 or whatever massive number of officers and a couple of people, and then the people that are with them, and even people that are not a part of the party, when we witness something like that, it's very unsettling. If that were my daughter, oh my goodness, all bets would be off, okay? All bets would be off. You want a person to respond to you, but you must know how to communicate with people. You must know how to be calm when if you say everyone's on edge or alert, of course, but someone has to have some sense in the situation. I've said that in the classroom. You cannot allow everyone to just go at it. Someone has to remain calm, and I'm sorry, but someone of the officers, even if the ones that were not directly involved, others on site need to step up and say, hey, let's see what we got going on here. What are we doing? What do you want? Do you want a situation like we've seen across the country? We have CNN and every affiliate of the national news parked in Paducah because officers don't know how to respond to something. Do better. Let's get the training. If you need to bring out outside help, then do that. But this cannot continue. We will never, ever be able to celebrate emancipation or any other holiday with this kind of behavior. Regardless, the officers are the person that are primarily in charge. That does not mean you are the aggressor, that you can be that kind of way with people. You can't do that. What response do you expect to receive? That's very, just watching that video, I'm sure has my blood pressure escalated. Can you imagine if it were your child? Act as if you're speaking to or dealing with someone that lives in your home when you do a police stop. Act as if it's someone that matters to you when you know that. Okay? That's my time. I'm the only woman here. I don't get to say too much, but I'm gonna say all that I can while I'm speaking.
Thank you for your feedback, Judy. Okay. Anyone else have anything you want to bring up? Jill?
Folks, could I interject this? We're actually lucky that things weren't much worse than that video. And the reason I say this is that the whole atmosphere was tense. People were upset, and the officers, bless their heart, and I'm glad they were there. I'm glad they were there because it's only a small fraction of the population that's doing stupid stuff. but they're hearing the negativity, the bashing coming from the sidewalk. So I'm sure they were not in a good mood. The people that are doing the bashing were not in a good mood. I was not comfortable at all when I left the brick house Saturday night and they were in the middle of the road. State troopers were on the right, city cops were on the left, and I had to ease my car down between them very tightly. And I've done nothing wrong, but at the same time, you feel very tense. You feel
Jeff, Jeff, I think Jeff froze. Can you everything you want to piggyback on? Okay. I'm going to move on to the next question. Again, it's for our city leader, our mayor and the commissioners. Was the police presence at this year's 8th of August celebration consistent with what the city provides for other Paducah festivals and large public gatherings? If not, what justified the difference? Mr. Mayor?
So
You're muted. You're muted.
thank you. Sorry. The police presence, for August 8th was definitely accelerated, more than it is for other festivals. You've mentioned barbecue on the river and other festivals that Paducah has, but again, we were focused on safety because there had been consistent violence in past years, and so um, that was the focus of the weekend. We did not want uh, there to be injury or death, and it's clear to me from all the conversation, from the video and from other things that we can do better, and we will. I mean, I I'm listening, to what everybody's saying, but yes, clearly, because of the consistent violence in years past, and perhaps that's some of that's on us. Perhaps we've been inconsistent, and we didn't provide enough oversight last year, and so we offered accelerated oversight this year, and we went uh, you know pretty far to the other side, and that needs to be adjusted, and 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 I can tell you that would definitely be our focus. But I will say this to that: in order for there to be communication, it's two way. So the city certainly, will take the lead, but there needs to be community leaders that step up and want to communicate with us, and help be our interface, with not only community leaders but families and other people, that want to celebrate that weekend. So that is something that we will lead with, but we're going to ask for a partnership with that.
But to answer your question, very clearly, I, I think I think that the bottom line is that the kind of police presence that we saw at the Brick House and the Home Plate and what we see at the Barbecue on the River and other festivals were clearly not the same. And I think that the bottom line is that we have to change that. And one of the ways I think that we can change that is that we need to provide consistent, uh, safe presence all the time, every day, in every community. And that way we do not run the risk of doing one thing in one community that we don't do in another. It's very simple. It's very clear that we have some work to do.
And if I can piggyback on that too, because um, I had a thought in my mind, but going back to one thing that I think that gets glossed over a lot is that the WC Young events during the day, there was no issues. And when comparing the barbecue on the river to the 8th of August, the barbecue on the river is not a white or black event. It's an event for everyone. And also to say that these events are permitted, they go through the permit process to close down the roads. Because somebody reached out to me and said, well, why? Or they suggested the city needs to close down the roads for the brick and do X, Y, Z. And I'm like, typically, an organization goes through the proper process to ensure that they're collaborating with the city and communicating with the city when it comes to these things. But not to diminish the fact that, of course, we need that balance for next year, not to make it feel like it's a demilitarized zone, around the brick house or home plate or whatnot. But, I never like hearing, or I never like the notion that it's white or black, because I don't believe that's what it is. I just think, again, too, with the violence we've seen, and like I said, I grew up on the north side. I was 2 houses down from the brick house, so I've seen the results of death at the brick house since I was a small child. So the Barbican River doesn't have a death every year, so we can't forget that or lose scope of the reasoning behind policing in that area. But again, we do need to find that balance, and I know we'll work with the community to find that balance.
Commissioner Thomas, let me piggyback off of what you just said.
Now,
You're saying that,
okay.
just 1 second. You're saying that, but on the same token, uh, the barbecue in the river and other events have alcohol. There's drinking, there's loitering, there's people get out and act the fool. Compared to this year's 8th of August, there was people dragged from their vehicle. There's people in their restaurants was policed, regardless if they had license or didn't have license. That's usually not done. So my question is, where is the balance at? How can we sit there and say, oh, when those stuff happened years prior, I'm all for that, all for policing, but yet there's other instances that didn't rectify doing what was done. So how can we sit there and say it's different for the barbecue on the river when again it's a community event, it's a large event that requires policing. Everybody
And
should be treated equally. Everybody should be treated the same, regardless of the past, regardless of the present. Everybody should be treated equal, and that's not a
and
black or white event. Everybody's drinking. What do you think?
No, and I appreciate you doing that follow up, because it reminded me of my original point. At our commission meeting last night, the chief shared with the community that there were valid threats of violence to our 8th of August. And I think that got glossed over as well. We know there was a shooting down in Mayfield, and there was also more shootings the week prior,
Mayfield.
and there were threats of retaliation. And I don't think we should overlook that information if it was factual, that there were threats. So with that new information, again, we still need to find the balance. I'm not diminishing anything or any concern that has been shared, but I'm a type of person that I like to stick to the facts, and the facts of the matter were that there were threats of violence to our 8th of August.
Tion, let me jump in. May I jump in for just
Go
a
ahead,
half
Mayor.
second? So,
Go.
Commissioner Thomas brought up the concept of permitting, and that's very, very important, and I think it's misunderstood. The city permits events in public spaces for a specific reason, and that is because we can plan around those events, and there's a process that you must go through in order to get permitted. And but when you go through that process, then we've got organization and planning around that. And I actually brought up the idea when I was talking to LG earlier, several months ago, that that if somebody would step up and wanted to actually hold an event, you know, in that area and permit it, within the restrictions that the city works with them, we could have permitted a much a safe event. But it's a lot of responsibility. I mean, it's a lot of organization, and so what I think the difference between the two events are is barbecue on the river and other events are permitted and planned and organized, and I'm not trying to justify any of the behavior or any of the things other than just to just to draw the difference between those two things.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Mayor. Anybody want to
let me
follow
jump
up?
in, Tion, let me jump in.
Go ahead.
Okay, so that's you just made a good point about the permits. The 8th of August, as we know, this was the year anniversary of it. We've been can y'all hear me?
Can't hear you.
Okay.
Go ahead,
Okay,
take
now
it.
I'm back. So the 8th of August has been around going on for 50 years or so as we celebrated 50 years with WC Young. The barbecue on the river is around about 27 to 30 years going on. If you have a plan set together for that, why can't you do the same thing for the 8th of August? What organizations what are y'all doing that can't be done with the Black community when we're putting together the 8th of August? And another thing about getting leaders to come together to help on these things, I know Jewel would be happy to join. I would be happy to join. Is there something that needs to be announced? The event, the things that y'all did this year, who were the people who were part of the planning of doing all this stuff? Because I would like to know who those people are. What people was it different generations that was part of this to put this thing together, or what? Because that's where the communication is falling apart right there. There's only certain people who are getting in on being part of planning things for the 8th of August. It shouldn't just be people in the WC Young. It shouldn't just be NAACP. It should be community people who all want to be involved in it, not just elites or whatever you want to call them. So who can answer that for me?
Well, the meetings that I'm sorry, the meetings that we had were essentially they were planned around the brick house itself. So we met with LG, and his family members, but there were really no meetings that occurred outside of that. Well, Dr. June Jones a couple of weeks ago came and was considering opening a booth, but at the end of the discussion, decided not to do that. Uh, but we need, Andy Amo, to your point, we need to identify those leaders, and we will reach out. And if you and Jewel want to be a part of that, I think that's great, and we can plan around that. And we had no time met with the NAACP prior to this. That wasn't part of our planning process.
And Mayor, to piggyback, because with his original question asking about the organization with the barbecue on the river, the city of Paducah doesn't host the barbecue on the river. It was Beautiful Paducah a few years back, and now Paducah Main Street, that have taken it under their wing. So it kind of goes back to the same like WC Young Community Center. They're an organization that takes on the 8th of August and has wonderful events throughout the day that are community oriented. And for the nighttime scene, like you suggested, if there's an organization that would like to come together and go through the process, and I know the city would help, guide them through the process, but the city, from my experience so far, doesn't typically host like the Barbecue on the River or these other large events. Organizations that take up the load and do it and go through the process to make sure that it's secured and the permits and all those types of things. So it would take a community organization coming together, and the city would be able to help facilitate or partner to get that going for a nighttime activity.
So let me piggyback off of that.
In one of our meetings,
with
I don't know if you remember, Mayor. I think it was suggested that other organizations come together, like the community center, the NAACP, and to coordinate efforts. And that was quickly thrown out. They did not want to do that. So I don't know if that has any bearing on our future plans.
Jewel, you have a response?
Is like I get it. Okay, yes, violence does happen. When people left the police themselves, it seemed like that's how it's happened. Y'all police yourself down. I get on the post and here we're gonna shut it down. That's what lit me. It started from, I ain't gonna say no names of their sector, and then there was a political guy got on there and say, I agree with that. This year I seen shut down. That's all I seen was shut down. I hear people keep saying what they saying, But I still ain't heard nobody saying where, yes, that is harassment. I ain't heard, there's a Fourth Amendment thing that protects you against excessive force. We can look at it and see, I don't need nothing else. If I know that something that was minor and I take it and treat it like 12 officers, it's excessive. And I appreciate where you say, okay, yes. But how are we going to understand that it's going to, the public's listening right now? Like, this is Paducah, not the 10 or 12 that just looking for clickbait. Not them people, because clickbait is people that's looking to get paid by some media. I don't care about them pennies. They don't help. So when I post, I'm posting with passion because I'm concerned about my son's future. Like, we're losing to son that's talking about shut it down. Y'all criminals. Quit committing crimes. Like, hold on. Look here, player. We ain't all committing crimes. We might been in a realm of it before, but I will speak and say this in a few seconds. I've had my car with officers on it, hold me down, tell me it's my car, that this car of yours is stolen, the whole nine. But when I came to the actual police chief, I done wrote the certain people that I did process. So the grievance process, we don't believe in that because we're gonna be told at the end of the day it's justified. We understand this is this reason. Our problem is I still haven't heard where how can we trust to come to a table that we ain't even allowed to come to us, and we gonna keep justifying what happened in the past? How can we get to today without talking about yesterday? If yesterday is our same concern, we gonna still live in the 60s, 70s, and the 80s. It is black and white. Let's be honest. Let that cat out the kitchen. This is black and white right now. Because the same people went downtown and got treated differently. We was down there Saturday. It was no different. I didn't see nobody trying to shut nothing down. And they was overcrowded. It wasn't treated no differently. But so my thing is, why are we? Because of where we go to locations, it's an issue. And we're gonna go where y'all at and treat y'all this way. But how are we gonna get to a point where we get to a point where we can trust it?
So let me ask this question to the mayor and the commissioners. Would you support creating a community advisory or public safety working group that includes residents, event organizers, law enforcement, city leadership before next year's 8th of August event?
Yes.
I mean, you guys have a human relations commission. I would think that a great bit of this responsibility in resolving this would be led by them. That's just my thought.
You said the Human Rights Commission?
Yeah, I've said human relations. I guess it's human rights. Human rights there. Yeah.
Human rights. Okay.
Different names, different cities, but I know you have an entity. I've worked with them before. Very passionate, very diverse, but I just hadn't heard them mentioned in this conversation, and I think they would be at the forefront.
I think they can, Jeff. I think that's a good idea. I think they could certainly play a role. We just need to choose the right people, to work with them from the community. But certainly they can, they can take an organizational role. So that's something we can discuss.
I like the thought of expanding it. Various new individuals, new blood, youth. I would love to see like a food truck festival. I'd love to see open air market with vendors of all types. And years ago, there were vendors from everywhere, not just Paducah or Kentucky, but I remember vendors coming as far away as Atlanta. And again, Mayor and commissioners, if there's any way possible, if you guys could get some type of economic impact analysis of what the 8th of August means to the entire community, because you got black, you got white, then you got green.
Thank you.
And I just want to say this. I like the fact that, we are speaking that it is, let's not be naive and say that it has nothing to do with race. Can we please stop being insulting? Because it does. So my thing is, what are we prepared to do? Like the Untouchables, what are we prepared to do? From here going forward, what are the plans for the meetings? What are the plans for the review? How much of the public will be involved and how much information will they receive? How much input will they have? we talk about, specific leaders and a need for new leaders. There should be a variety of individuals that have input. But the first thing, before you can try to make everything work as a unit, the individual things need to be tweaked. How the officers even, the headspace that they're in prior to even signing in for their shift. Of course, another thing that was not mentioned was a other loss of life of an officer, a fellow officer, as an indirect result of some of the actions that took place last year. All these people we care about, we love, we know them. Some of you don't even know them. I don't know what your connection may or may not be, but it matters not, because everyone is a person, everyone's life is to be valued. But you have one of the most important jobs as a police department and as a city government, and that is to make sure that the people that you have in place to deal with the masses are the people that need to be doing that job. Everyone is not meant to be. We need so much more diversity in Paducah and in the police department. So much more. And, we've been satisfied over the past 20, 30, 40 years with 4 or 5 African American officers here or there. They retire or pass away, and we don't replenish. But we need representation. Just like I've always said, our schools need representation of our students. Our cities need representation of the officers that are there to serve and protect. So let's try to keep it.
I could not
We
agree
just
with
need
you
to.
more. I could
Yes,
not
Mayor.
agree with you anymore that we need more diversity on the Paducah police force, and that is something that we have focused on. We need to redouble our efforts, but it's not
Yes.
something that we have turned a blind eye to in any
That's
way,
good.
shape, or form. So,
And it takes the community encouraging young black people to apply for these positions, because we can talk about we need,
We've
but if
had
we
many
don't have
people
people
to
applying,
apply that were not, that were not. So I don't believe
Julie,
that's a big part.
Julie, let him
Yes.
finish what you were saying. Go ahead,
Yeah.
Mr. Chip, finish
that
your
was
comments.
pretty much my point, because I
Yes.
definitely agree that we definitely need more diversity in our police force and our fire department, and really all throughout City Hall and all of our jobs at City Hall. But again, it takes people applying to those positions. And if we're not encouraging our youth, hey, you can be a police officer, you can be a firefighter, you can work in the planning department, they're not going to apply for those jobs. So it takes us as parents and as leaders in the community to encourage them to get out there and apply for these jobs.
Commissioner
Go
Thomas,
ahead,
I
Judy, make your
agree.
point. Who was that? I'm
Well,
sorry.
it also takes the police reflecting a good image to the public, especially to the youth. I heard what Rosia Killing said at City Hall last night. That didn't leave a good impression with those children. So I'm in complete agreement with you, Commissioner Thomas. We all need to be active in recruiting, but also, it would just be great to see next year. And I promise you this would happen and I hope to see a strong police presence. But I promise you, in the backyards, people would feed them, would be glad to give them a plate. Be great to see them pick up a ball and toss it with a kid, or get in line and boogie a little bit with a family. It would be nice to see some community policing, and that itself turns into recruitment.
That's a very true statement. Is that having the police get out and just know the community, know those names, get involved. Like you said, throw that basketball, just walk around and say hello. So then by chance, when you do stop somebody, or if you do, that, oh, that's Andiamo. I know how he is. You'll be able to engage that person differently. So getting involved, getting outside of your norm, speaking to the community, walking, not necessarily policing, but just talking to people, communicating
Community
effectively will
policing.
make a big difference in recruitment and in community engagement and bringing the community together. Okay. So I have a question for
Agreed.
everyone. If you could speak directly to the Paducah Police Department and the residents who feel hurt, frustrated right now, what would you say to each side that could help us to begin moving forward? Mr. Mayor?
Why don't just repeat that if you don't mind, Tiant, one more
No
time.
problem. If you could speak directly to the Paducah Police Department and the residents who feel hurt or frustrated right now, what would you say to each side that could help us to begin moving forward?
Well, I'll start with the residents. To the residents, I would say that um, we will work hard to do much better. We will work hard to train our officers better, prepare them better, for next year's celebration. And we are sorry for anybody that felt over intimidated or over policed. Um, there was we did have a successful weekend from the standpoint that we did not have any deaths, and that was the primary goal. Um, but but clearly we can do better, and we will. And we are listening, and we will continue to listen. To the police, I would say that um, in preparation for next year, we are going to need more community involvement ahead of the event, and we're going to need to prepare for. Uh, we're going to need to be able to differentiate between the things that we prepared for this year, which was by what I believe is out of town people coming into Paducah and ruining the August 8th celebration for all of us because of some of the things that have taken place in past years. And we need to focus more on the families, the people uh, that celebrate August 8th that are in Paducah that welcome their family from out of town, and we will do that. Sorry, I
Thank you, Mayor.
probably talked too long.
No, you're fine. Uh, Commissioner Henderson?
I would simply say, as I have said to everyone who even talked to me from last Friday to today, that number one, we're very sorry that things happened the way they did. We owe not just those residents, but we owe our community an apology
Because there are
because there are
clearly some
clearly some
things
things that
we
we
were
were
not
not
prepared.
prepared. That we were not. I'm
I'm
hearing
hearing
a
a lot
lot
of
of
feedback,
feedback,
so I
so I
can't.
can't. So there are clearly some
Sorry
things
about
that we
that.
were not prepared for, and then I would say to our police is that we've got to come together. We've got to talk about what we did see, and we've got to try to correct that behavior. And it is time for us for all of us, myself included, to sit down and get some training in cultural diversity and how we work through some of the challenges in different races and just how we do it. It's simple. There's no other way around it. We can't uh, put sugar to it. We had some issues. We had some problems, and we have to correct them. Very, very simple.
Thank you, sir. Go ahead, Mr. Thomas.
Yeah, just I'll start off for the community as well, especially to all those that did reach out, that I had conversations with, even in person. I appreciate them so much,
So,
and it's uh, feedback from Yama. There we go. But I appreciate those individuals that even showed up to our commission chamber to share their concerns because that's what it takes. It takes community feedback. It takes the community standing up. And I'm really hopeful that those that did show up know that we are taking their concerns seriously. Um, we need a balance next year. We need a better balance, and I can 100% agree to that. Um, and we need to rectify if there was wrongdoings, and we're going to investigate those wrongdoings or alleged wrongdoings. But to our officers as well, I thank them for being out there that night, but also moving forward, looking into next year, we definitely do need to have some training on how to interact with the community and get more out in the community prior to the 8th. It doesn't just need to be an 8th of August thing, but they need to be walking the neighborhoods, meeting the kids. And we do have some officers, like during the daytime at the parade and the activities in the park, they were walking the park and interacting with the community. So I appreciate seeing things like that. But with as many officers as we have, we definitely need to get more of them on rotation out in the community as much as possible, and that's what I'm looking forward to.
Thank you. Ms. Calhoun? You're muted. There
So
you
to
go.
the
Now go ahead.
citizens of Paducah, terribly, terribly sorry for what you experienced, what you felt, because I'm terribly sorry for what I experienced. So much so I made a decision that I won't attend next year. We'll try 28 and see what it does. But I'm very sincere when I said I've made a decision because I know within 12 months we won't have a huge difference, and hopefully there'll be some change. I'm so sorry that that's my sincere feeling. I've seen how the wheels of progress move in Paducah as a resident there for several decades and being a very active and viable member of the community. It's very frustrating, it's disheartening, but anything that I can do to help, I've always been available. I get contacted here in Maryland all the time about situations and concerns that people have in the city and other places as well. And to the police officers, I understand you want to go home at night. Of course you do. Everyone does. But the problems that we bring on our job, and everyone has them and sometimes bring them along with their jobs, we have to really have some type of balance where we modify how we're feeling and where we're thinking when we're accosted, and also when we feel like this could be something very serious. I think I would feel better if I could use that time to say, okay, let's proceed. Let's see what's going on. Let's de-escalate. It's like that word does not even exist with officers, and not all of them. There's some amazing officers that I know personally, but we have got to make sure that before they leave this station, they know what their job is, what their role is. It is to come back, but it is not to decide that every person that you come in contact with is a viable threat to you. Just try to do better, try to get training, and know that this is my job that I love, and I want to be able to do it from day to day and allow people to live and enjoy a festival and day-to-day life in Paducah.
Ms. Calhoun. Jewel?
Yes.
Dion,
Yes.
let me
Go ahead.
jump in before Jewel jumps in real quick and get some stuff off that some of the people are saying on YouTube. One person said we need to plan. We need a plan that will implement ASAP to recruit more minority officers. Is there an echo?
Speak a little louder.
Other people that aren't speaking need to mute. That's all.
Okay. Can y'all mute real quick? We need a plan that will be implemented ASAP to recruit more minority officers. What else we got? We got also there is a lack of trust in our police department. What can we do to build trust in our community? As of now, I fear for my son and my nephew's lives. I got something to say about that in a minute. This should be as important, and this right here is going to be, I think it's to the first thing, I don't know much about this data center thing, but I think it's a county thing, and I think y'all are taking a lot of flack for it. But should be as important with recruiting police officers as this data center stuff is, which I agree. We need to do some recruiting. I went through and looked at Busted. I went through and looked at Busted on Facebook to see how many people were arrested during the 8th of August, the 3 days from Thursday to Friday. And I pulled up at least 10. Here's some of the things that they were arrested for. Several of them were for AI. As Dewan said earlier, I think Tion said also, during the barbecue on the river, there was a, what they call it, a beer, something kind of beer thing. They got a little tent and all that stuff going on, and you can drink in there. There's AI going on in there. So is AI? Yeah, alcohol intoxication. We got too many things going with it now. But are those people getting arrested the moment they come out of that little netted area for being alcohol intoxicated? Probably not. There's a difference right there with the black and white thing, as Jewel was saying earlier. You got people. We had people that were getting pulled over for having a blinker not on 100 feet from a stop sign. Now, when has that ever been an issue that you got pulled over for? That right there lets you know there was some targeting going on. You're pulling people over because of a blinker. And one person told me they got to the stop sign, then got pulled over. Well, maybe that person got to the stop sign and said, probably be easier for me to take a left and turn. And they turned the blinker on, he said, after they got there. But there was some targeting going on with that. When they got hit with those AIs, of course, the person was probably mad, so then they got hit with a disorderly conduct. That one kid, the one young man in that video I showed, he was in a car. I looked at the charges he got hit with. He got hit with loitering. Now, I'm not a lawyer, but can you be hit with loitering while sitting in a car? But then you were dragged out of the car. Is that when the loitering happened? When they dragged him out of the car? There was some targeting going on. There was a lot of retribution with the police department. I don't care what anybody says about that. They were pissed about being criticized last year about not being in the places where things were going on with the pew-pews and all that. And as I said last year, we all can take blame for the situation of people seeing those guys out there with the pew-pews and not saying anything. I take blame a lot of people. We saw it. We should have said something to the police, called and said, hey, there are people out here with these big guns. Y'all need to get out here. The drone was not enough. So maybe some of the police officers say, okay, since y'all want to say we weren't doing what we were supposed to do last year, we're going to show you what we're going to do this year. That's where that retribution and that targeting came in. These pullovers with these simple-minded pulling people over for blinkers is showing you that there was some targeting retribution with the police department this year with the 8th of August. So as Jeff said earlier, when y'all do this investigation on these videos of all these, I'm sorry I'm taking so long, but my thing's been, man, I got to get where I can get it in. So with all the videos that y'all going to be investigating, is the Human Rights Commission going to be available to be part of that? Is there a community panel that y'all can put together? I don't know about the legalities of us seeing these videos right now, that can look at these videos along with the city council and the police department to say, hey, you tell me that right there is not excessive force. You tell me that wasn't targeting. You tell me something. Somebody tell me something. I'm done.
All right. Anybody from the commission have a response to that? The mayor, anyone have a response to?
I mean, I agree. And I'm hoping, because I know that's come up a couple of times about having a community panel or, having that community input on that as well. So I'm not sure exactly how they will go about that, but, I support it because we definitely, and I think Commissioner Henderson spoke last night about us being involved in that investigation, not just going off of, yeah, we say it was justified. Like we want to be able to see that as well and see the reasoning. If it is justified, okay, why is it justified? And if it's not, during our review, we can question, well, what about X, Y, and Z? Why did this happen in this situation? So I'm anticipating that the opportunity to be involved in that investigation as well.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, do you have any follow-up to that question?
I would just say we'll be talking about exactly the way we go through the videos. I mean, there's hundreds of hours of videos, so we need to focus on the incidents. So we need to pick out the incidents, and I cannot say that there would be a community uh, panel that would review all the videos. There is a process to go through that, and we'll be talking with the city manager and the chief, and determine what the best process is.
Thank you.
Yeah, I was saying, certainly I don't know what that process would be,
Look
but
like
whoever was speaking earlier, I would concur that there needs to be more people involved, more eyes seeing, another way for another opportunity for training, another opportunity to open people's eyes to some things that perhaps they are not familiar with. But we don't need to do this in a vacuum. We don't need to just sit by the sidelines and say, "This is what we got. This is what we saw." We want to see it ourselves, and together we can try to decide where we go from there. But community involvement is is much needed and much necessary. Not my only concern, but my concern is that we don't hear from people sometimes on a regular basis. We only hear from people when something goes wrong or when something doesn't go the way they think, and then everybody wants to jump and be the community leader and be the voice. And I don't know that that's fair. We need folk who are here with us consistently working with us to try to make a difference.
Thank you.
That's an
Thank you.
excellent point.
So, so we're going to revert back to the last question to allow Jewel and Jeff to respond to. I'm going to read it one more time for you. If you could speak directly to both the Paducah Police Department and the residents who
No.
feel hurt or frustrated right now, what would you say to each side that could help begin us moving forward? Jewel, can you go ahead?
I have my own private organization up on a nonprofit, 913, 913 Justice, Community Justice. But I'm united with Northside Arts Exchange. And the thing is I'm for my community. I'm I'm not against police officers. I know they got an occupation. I'm not against them. But at the same time, I stand with you in frustration because I understand it. I've been treated that, and I know exactly how you feel. But at the same time, we can't allow anger to rise. Like our word let us know that all of us have been raised some form of in church and let us know it's okay to be angry, but sin not. It's okay. But at the same time, we still got to work with each other, and we still got to work with Paducah Police Department in order for us to get to some type of mutual ground, so we can coexist because we need each other to get through the 8th of August weekend, how we celebrate it, and every day inside Paducah, Kentucky. It's gonna take some time to heal because of I understand the frustrations. To the Paducah Police Department, we not against y'all. Attack y'all. We just feel attacked. So if you come at a person enough, then therefore you gonna get some form of aggression back. We might respect your occupation, but at the same time, you can't come at us. In fact, we're not going to do that. But we got to work together, and we got to start for that date. You can't come and try to communicate with us when it's on the order. So we got day in, day out. When I was a kid, we used to get the stick on you did, but they used to come and shoot basketball with us, like they said. They used to come to our events that was in, and they showed up not to police us, but as citizens. As y'all have actual what is it called? It's when an officer can come and actually talk to you, and it's not the form of an arrest. But everything don't have to be a stop by an investigation. I understand the threats of the 8th of August, understand what y'all go off of previously. But if we can build some type of something with you of trust, then we don't got them problems because you will see familiar faces in the community and not see targets. As only thing you see is because you train for the 8th of August. Instead of training for the 8th of August, become part of the community until the 8th of August hit. Now we are one community. And we'll tell a person, bro, he good. But if I don't know you, then therefore I feel targeted because that's all the reaction I'm gonna get. An aggression and aggression, we both gonna have to stand off. At the end of the day, of course you're gonna win because you have a jail. We don't have a jail to put a police in. All we ask as a community is that some point, we want to build trust with you so that when that time comes, we feel protected and not feel like we're to the point of where we're your target.
Thank you. Jeff?
Yeah, I don't think anyone wants the worst 8th of August in history to fall on their watch. Unfortunately, it did. A lot of room for improvement. Appreciate our police officers. I want the presence, but please fall back. Please be engaged. And next year, let's be able to say, thanks to the police department and our elected officials and community leaders working together, now we've got the best 8th of August. I'm not on here just to complain and just to shoot people down. I don't live there any longer, but I will help in any way possible. I'm only an hour away. I don't mind participating in the committee or leading focus groups or whatever it takes. I'm committed to the change because I am determined this will continue to happen for Paducah. Paducah, eyes are on you, not just the citizens of Paducah, but this is a regional and to somewhat of a degree, a national event. Thank you, hosts and elected officials and other participating members.
Thank you, Jeff. Appreciate it. So as we prepare to
Thank you.
close down, we're gonna, I believe Mr. Andy Yama wanted to speak on future invites and stuff before I give our closing message. Can you go ahead?
Okay, first off, how are you gonna be my cousin for 452 years and you mispronounce my name?
Man, that's my blooper.
Official-
That's my blooper.
Right.
You gotta have some, you know.
All right. Well, as y'all know, we created this podcast to be informative for our community. Somebody's on the. Can somebody mute real quick? Okay, we created the podcast to be informative for our community. So one thing is it's election year. So to the commissioners, and y'all can relay this message to Ms. Wilson and Mr. Smith, and I think Mr. Watkins is running, and also to the mayor. Mayor, you're running for the judge executive. We would like to make an invitation, put an invitation out to y'all to come on individually, so we can talk to you about your platform, what you plan to do for the city of Paducah. So we'll be reaching out to y'all about that pretty soon. As Jules said earlier, and we're talking about, he was talking about police officers coming and playing basketball and all that type stuff with them. So I wish I could have done this earlier, and but of course, as I said, my internet was messing up. So I just want to, as you all are aware, that we had a Officer Ryan Hudson passed away last year. It's been 1 year today that he had passed away. Ryan was as far as the community, he was out there in the community for the kids for sure. Ryan adopted McNabb Elementary as a school that he would attend all the time. He would go there and sorry about that. Ryan would go to McNabb Elementary and read to the kids. If you look, there's a video of him in a car just reading. So I just want to let his family know that we're thinking about him, and he's one of my frat brothers. He was my stage partner, and we were undefeated. So miss you, Ryan, and just to his family, you're in all of our prayers. So that right there is the epitome of a community police officer for the city of Paducah.
Thank you, cuz. Thank you. Well, tonight, everyone, we had some technical difficulties, you know, for our podcast. It's the first we had so many people online. I'm sorry. Okay. So we want to apologize for technical difficulties that we've had today. Normally we don't have this, but I guess having so many people online might have caused that. We have a lot of people on YouTube, Facebook responding, asking questions, and we want to apologize if we didn't get to a lot of your questions. But we'll do better. So please bear with us and stuff. And so we spent a lot of time tonight discussing what happened. Now let's talk about what happens next. 1 year from now, when families return for another 8th of August celebration, what needs to be different for the community and Paducah Police Department to both be able to say, we learned from 2026 and we did better. As we close tonight, we want to thank our panelists, everyone who joined us, shared their experiences, and asked questions. Tonight was never about being anti police or anti city leadership. We can support law enforcement while still demanding fairness, transparency, accountability, and equal treatment. We may not agree on everything discussed tonight, but progress begins when we're willing to listen to one another and have the difficult conversation. Let's take tonight's conversation beyond this podcast and turn it into a positive action, stronger relationships, and meaningful change. Paducah deserves to be a community where everyone feels safe, protected, respected, and heard. And again, I want to thank everyone. Good night, and let's continue moving forward as a community.
And
Thank
could
you
I
all for
make
being
one?
online. And
Could I
Thank
make
you.
one comment before we
Thank you so
go?
much.
Thank
Take care. Thank you.
Tank, could I make one
thank
comment
you.
before we go? Can you hear me?
Devon, go ahead, Devon.
Yeah, I just wanted to publicly acknowledge Mr. I see, Mr. Jewel Hall. I just want to tell you personally, I appreciate what you do with your sons because I've made posts, regards to all this that the men need to stand up and be a role model for the youth. And you, sir, are an inspiration for how you always keep your sons involved. You keep them out in the community. And I just want to give you those accolades personally to say thank you for what you're doing because you are an inspiration of what a father should be, especially for young minority children. And I hope to be the same kind of father for my son when he gets here. So I just want to say thank you for what you do with your kids. And it's an inspiration.
Here, here.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
anyone else have any
May
parting
I ask
messages?
how we gonna do this, boy? May I ask this one question, Mr. Mark? You said that how we like are we gonna have something that'll come out where we'll see how we can set up and get this ball rolling so that we can get this snowball rolling down the hill. Time we get there, we done
You
got
know,
cause we losing time, clock running.
you know, whether I like it or not, I mean, the title of mayor kind of puts me in the hot seat. So we'll follow up, Jewel. We'll follow up.
Okay, I appreciate that. I
Okay.
appreciate it.
All right.
Anyone else
See
any
you,
last messages,
everybody.
parting messages?
Take care.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
See ya.
Thank you, everyone. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I got